Good evening, this is HimanshuBhayani, and you are watching the digital video news bulletin of datelinegujaratnews.com in English language. There were some technical glitches, so we apologize for that. We have not been able to join with you. The glitches have been solved. We come today with a very new avatar in a mix of content and video, and let me have your feedback as viewers, as readers, whether you like this avatar or not. So, going ahead, what is the news to which the world woke up today? The world woke up mainly to the news of chaos in Sudan. I mean, it's almost, it has entered the 9th day basically, and what we hear is that the EU and the Saudi diplomats have taken the toll of the situation amidst the evacuation process which is going on from across the world. All the nations, including India, is busy evacuating their nationals, the diplomats from Sudan. So this is kind of evacuation happening among the deadly clashes which are happening in Sudan. There are dead bodies on the streets. There's bombing going on, but incidents of looting and prison break have also been reported in Sudan. So amidst all this, the reports have also surfaced of an Egyptian embassy staff member who has been shot. Special forces from US, they have evacuated the embassy staff from Khartoum. Almost all the European Union countries, they have also gone in this process. South Africa, Spain, UK has kind of evacuated its nationals using their special forces. They used the Chinook helicopters and they've gone over there, and they've done a fantastic kind of an operation, the UK, with the leadership, the way it is of Rishi Sunak. And I think the evacuation task is going on in a fantastic manner by UK. That's what most of the reports also in Western media talk about. A military tanker plane which is reported to be in a standby mode in Saudi Arabia for Sudan evacuation process. So actually the evacuation is there, and this leads to a lot of questions, that what's really happening. To which level this will escalate. The way people are evacuating, there are even some photographs, which shake us, because there are people stranded, there are people on the airport, it's all rush bush hour, and so let's see, let's keep our fingers crossed, but the whole world is worried about Sudan, that's a fact. Going ahead, what's happening in other developments? The world's military spending has reached all-time high at almost $2.24 trillion. So we are talking of making our economy, Indian economy, of 5 trillion in coming years, and here the world spending on military, it is all-time high of 2.24 trillion. So with the kind of war zones in Ukraine and Russia, what is happening in Africa, what's happening in Middle East, what's likely to now happen in the Asian subcontinent with the crisis brewing in the South China Sea and Taiwan and China and North Korea, and it's a madness. So the military spending has gone ahead, and the G7 foreign ministers have delivered a powerful message amidst the Chinese and Russian aggression. So there was a G7 summit, and those leaders have delivered a very strong message that this is not something which is acceptable. Equally, there have been reports that Russian Wagner group, it has kind of gone in Chad. They have kind of gone against the present-day Chad government, recruiting the rebels from other groups and extremist rebels, and this has mounted kind of concerns, for US also, because Chad is one of their important ally. And experts across America have kind of warned on the situation that H5N1 bird flu is wiping out everything. That's a warning from the experts coming from the US. In news from Russia and Ukraine war zone, the Ukraine forces have crossed the Dnipro. It's actually spelled as DNIPRO, but where D is silent, it's Dnipro River, for the first time ahead of the counterattacks, where reports are surface of the Russian shelling as Ukrainian forces reportedly crossed this river. And on the other side, Russia has strengthened its grip on Bakhmut, of course, on the Bakhmut. And reports have surfaced of Wagner mercenaries have started fighting with the Russian soldiers, and Russian soldiers are kind of, beg for the help as they are thrown in the pit by their own army. So that's something which is happening in the world. In other developments, moving ahead to Asia, what's happening in Asia? In developments across Asia, the biggest news is that in India, the Sikh separatist leader who has been supporting the Khalistan movement, the pro-Khalistani leader Amritpal Singh, was arrested actually on Sunday. He has been arrested, and he has been arrested after a long month. So that's across the world media. So we have already said that we'll be talking about the news which is there in the world media. Tokyo has ordered a military shoot down of debris from the North Korean satellite launch While in China, while in other news from China and Russia to boost the China pipeline gas supplies by almost 50%. So Russia will be kind of increasing its supplies to China, and it will boost its gas supplies by almost 50%. That's the news. And property market in China, that displays some hope, but analysts see that boom time is over in the Chinese property market. It's settling. Philippines has mandated the COVID-19 mask and the COVID-19 guidelines. They have to wear mask compulsorily across railways in Philippines because the numbers of COVID-19 infected cases have increased in Philippines. Whereas 56% people are supporting the developing of nuclear weapons to counter North Korea's threat. That's there from South Korea. And poll survey indicates that South Korean President Yoon's approval ratings have slipped consecutively for the third week. So these are the large and the big news from the the Asian subcontinent. Going ahead in the magnificent Middle East. So what's happening in Middle East? So if we talk of Middle East, what's happening in Qatar basically? Qatar is embarking a significant wave of LNG fleet expansion, and this is basically based on the report which has been annual report, gas market report of 2023 by Gas Exporting Countries Forum. And this expansion is there to underpin the domestic expansion of the North Field fleets, as well as the investments in the Golden Pass LNG terminal in US Gulf Coast. So that's the reason Qatar is expanding its fleets, ships basically, vessels, to ferry the gas, those VLCCs and kind of vessels. Defense chiefs from Russia, Turkey, Syria and Iran, they are likely to meet in Moscow. And the reports surface Israel shells have positioned and they've targeted the militia, basically the Lebanese Hezbollah on the Syrian Golan Heights. And Israel also opens an embassy in Turkmenistan, which is close to Iranian border. The kind of conflict which is going on between Iran, Syria, Israel, Turkey. So these things are happening over there. And the lawmakers from both the parties in Congress in US have come out brazenly and have started backing they've said they've given a backing to continue the US-Israel Defense Cooperation Program. So that's what they say, that this is something which should not be stopped, irrespective of opposition of the people in the ruling party. And Jordanian member of parliament has been arrested, who has been suspected for arms smuggling by Israelis while he was entering the West Bank. And first trilateral political consultation between India, Armenia and Iran that has been held. So these are the news largely from the Middle East. Going ahead in the mysterious Africa, of course, the news the newscape in African media space is largely dominated by the news from Sudan. But amidst that, what has surfaced is that 60 people have been killed in Burkina Faso by men who were in uniform, like in military uniform. And the West African country is battling actually the jihadist insurgency that's spilled over from the neighboring Mali since 2015. So these incidents are happening in Burkina Faso. In Kenya, a pastor who was telling his followers to fast to death has been arrested. Some 39 to 40, and the latest figure is 47 bodies have been recovered. It has been a kind of cult investigation, and that the bodies have been dug. The diggings have happened and the bodies have been recovered. On the Tunisian coast, 93 migrants have been rescued, while in Zimbabwe, the allegations are being made by the Chinese companies for rampant abuse of the workers amidst the OPEC plus oil target miss by shortfall by Nigeria. Now the Nigeria is battling the new crisis of the forex crisis, and it has hit a new low of $35.33 billion. So this is mainly kind of developments which are reported from Africa. Talking of eccentric Europe, so what's happening in the European news playbook? UK has tested the alert system on millions of phones. Now what is this alert system? So alert system is something, mobile emits a kind of noise and alarm and it vibrates. It's a national system modeled on a similar schemes in Canada, Japan, Netherlands and United States, which aims to warn the public that if there is some danger to life nearby. So, natural calamities or some kind of man-made calamities or situation, warlike situation or attacks or something, in that situation this national alert system works. I think this will very soon happen in India also, with the kind of mobile phone penetration India has. And Albanian court has upheld the decision and instance for confiscation of the majority of assets belonging to Albanian businessman Jeli Druki. including his TV station Ora News. So he had some assets and he was basically into media business. So all that has been confiscated and the court has upheld that decision. Pepper is being rationed in UK. I mean, the way the weather is, there is a forecast that the Arctic North winds are likely to gush up and temperature is likely to go below -4 degrees Celsius. In that scenario, I mean, the pepper shortage has been surfaced in UK and it is being rationed. That's what it is. And Euro Summit will spur the wind energy production in North Sea. So they will increase the the wind sea production basically. So these windmills are, kind of constructed within the Black Sea or the North Sea, wherever these assets are there. And from there they harness the wind power. So that's something which is indeed kind of a very positive news on the front of renewable energy development. Going ahead on the American dream, so what's happening in America? Michelin tires, they have recalled 500,000 snow tires. There has been some fault in that and they have been recalled. Reports surfaced that 3,000 American Jews have arrived in Israel for JFNA General Assembly. And the luxury plane, which nobody wanted, has finally been sold by Mexico to one of the other governments. To see which government it has been sold, you need to, click and read the news. Mexico has emerged as one of the largest car exporters to US. So in 2 different cases of smuggling, an ex-Marine has got 12 years for smuggling fentanyl into US from Mexico, and 45 kilos of meth drug has been intercepted from Mexico bound for Australia and Melbourne. And Mexico has, the Mexican prosecutors and the government, they've seized some 10 tigers and 4 lions from the cartel-dominated area. So, this was happening in Colombia. And, the drug cartel members are very fond of this. And they keep this wildlife in their farmhouses and everywhere. So, this has been seized from that area. And while in Caribbean countries, India has proposed a funding for small and medium-scale businesses for Caribbean community. So, India, what is happening with the SME, MSME, everybody knows, but now India has even promised something in Caribbean communities. While a big news which comes from the Caribbean islands is a commodity trader has bought a Caribbean island estate for a record of $136 million. That equivalents to 1,115 crore Indian rupees. So that's the island he has bought, which all establishments and everything. And while in Latin America, if we cross ahead, Argentina has proposed to produce 2 lakh, that is 200,000 tons of lithium by 2025. So cruising ahead, if we go from America to Playful Pacifics and Frozen Polars, we have combined together. So what's there in the Playful Pacifics and the Frozen Polars, mainly the Australia, New Zealand and the Frozen Polars, of course. So after the report surfaced of Australian businessman who has been allegedly passing information to the Chinese spies, now Australia has unveiled its major military reform in bid to counter the Chinese threat. The nation is buying more missiles to counter China. Amidst this report, there is a report of New Zealand has been struck by 7.3 magnitude of earthquake. Anthony Albanese has hailed the citizenship program. It's a win-win situation for Australia and New Zealand, where 40,000 New Zealanders will be allowed to come to Australia in coming years. And the Chris Hipkins, the counterpart Chris Hipkins in Brisbane, to mark this citizenship deal, they were together. And the 2 leaders attended the citizenship ceremony after the Australian government announced the easing of rules that will allow an estimated 40,000 Kiwis to claim Australian citizenship this year. So this year, 40,000 New Zealanders can migrate to Australia. Abu Dhabi will be soon opening its embassy in Solomon Islands, and tension rises as the nations race for the valuable resources in Arctics. Whereas Arctic blast is expected to hit the temperature as low as -4 degrees Celsius in northern hemisphere. And there have been reports that Arctic ice is actually attracting some plastic. So that's the news for the day. Thank you for listening us, viewing us patiently, and do give your feedback. And good night. Have a good day. Thank you.